Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order of the Board of Selectmen, Town of Sheffield on January 18th. This meeting is being recorded. I don't think at this moment we've got CTSB on the line.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You're here? Oh, that's Robert. Thank you so much, Robert. All right. In accordance with what we're supposed to do with virtual meetings, and you can see if you've got your video on that we have Selectman Martin Mitzoff, Selectman Bob Kilmer, Selectman Renee Wood. We also have our town administrator, Rhonda Lombard, and her assistant, Jill Hughes, on this call. All roll call votes will be taken by roll call rather than by just voice. And thank you all for being here this evening. Let's go ahead and get started. We have a number of sets of minutes to approve. Is there a motion on this?
Yes, it's Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the select board minutes from December 16th, 2021, 2 sets, from December 20th, 1 set, and December 21st, 2021, 2 sets as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any conversation on this, board members? Otherwise, let's have a roll call vote. Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Our second item is an update from Executive Director Kathy Loring regarding the Senior Center. And Kathy is with us tonight. So Kathy, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Renee. I just wanted to give a brief update. I know it's been kind of a up and down year with activities at the Senior Center with COVID, but we are pretty much back to normal. We were holding about 6 exercise programs a week, community meals, Meals on Wheels, other activities, cards, mahjong, bingo, and also 2 art programs. In the last week or so, 3 of the activities are kind of on hold. 2 of the instructors just weren't comfortable currently with holding activities. So art with Ellen and arts and crafts are on hold for the time being, and bingo. But besides that, everything seems to be up and running. Transportation continues. We're providing medical rides, shopping, rides to other activities at the center, food pantries, and we assisted many folks with the vaccines. We're continuing to help folks get boosters and some assistance with testing, although most people seem to be able to make those appointments on their own. And we did hold 3 vaccine clinics through CHP at the center in the last few months, and a flu clinic this fall. And we will continue to offer, depending on scheduling and what CHP is looking for clinics, we'll continue to try and help them, offer them a space if it works with our current scheduling. I also just wanted to mention that Elder Services of Berkshire County is looking for volunteers that would be interested in becoming a Shine counselor, which is serving health insurance needs for everyone. It's a 50-hour classroom instruction, and then you need to pass a state exam, but they are looking for anyone that might be interested in providing Shine counseling in our area.
Kathy, is that specifically Medicare and then Part B or D?
Yeah, it's providing in other health insurance information also, but it's primarily Medicare.
Okay, great. Anything else that you would like to let us know before I open it to see if there's any questions from the board?
No, unless someone has questions.
Okay, first, board members, are there any questions for Kathy?
I'm good. I appreciate the present.
Okay, since we do have some people on, is there any questions from those who are on the meeting? This is an opportunity to ask Kathy a question. If you'd like to, just please, some of you have got video, some of you don't. Just ask your question after identifying yourself. Okay, I'm not hearing any questions. Rhonda, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
I don't, Renee, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kathy. We appreciate this this update. All right, let's go on to the next item, which is discussion and possible action regarding purchase of recycled products policy. We have this in our packet, and this is something that Mass DEP requests us each year if we're going to apply for any of the recycling material dividends and such. So they keep changing the goalposts a little bit. So this new policy, we've had a policy every year for the last how many years, it just kind of incorporates a little bit of the new requirements, but I think it's very consistent with the policy we adopted last year. Rhonda, do you want to add anything?
No, it is very much like what we had last year with just a little bit added onto it. Thank you for getting it all set, Renee.
We need to have this along with some of the other things that Jill and Rhonda take care of for us into to be filed by I think it's February 15th, or we lose a point. So this is why it's coming up at today's meeting, so that it doesn't back it up until the early part of February, our first meeting. Board members, is there anything you'd like to change about this policy, or does it meet with your approval?
Martin's got his hand up.
Martin?
Yes, thanks. So I'm looking at what was included in our packet, and it looks like page 2 has much, if not all, of the same information on page 1. Is there a reason for that? For example, the introduction and purchases is also covered on page 1. I don't understand.
Yeah. Page 1, I'm going to tell you, I lost a couple of points last year in filing this because we didn't do it exactly the way they wanted. So I'm a little more cautious this year. So page 1 is going to go to all of the department heads.
Got it.
And page 1 references the policy, which is attached. So you could say it's a little bit of maybe overkill, but it does on page 2 show the policy exactly as the board will eventually, if not changed, adopt it with our signatures.
Thank you for that explanation. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So are there any changes that the board would like to make to this, or does it kind of make sense the way it's been written and structured?
It's fine with me.
And also with me.
Okay, so do either of you wish to make a motion and the other make a second on this adoption?
I'm happy to make a motion. I make a motion that we adopt the recycled products purchasing policy and distribute the memorandum that Rhonda drafted to our boards and commissions and departments.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Let me just ask Rhonda if she wants to weigh in at all.
The only question that I had, Renee, is do you want the one that the board signs to go to the department heads? Or
I think it says if it references that in that letter, yes. Otherwise, we'll just keep it on file and send both of them to with the RMD filing.
okay, sounds good.
I just don't want to lose points this year because we didn't include something.
We'll get it in.
Okay. So is there any further discussion, board members?
No.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. And then this will be ready for us and we can sign it when we're in the office. All right, thank you. Next item is discussion and, I'm sorry?
You missed number 3, the selectmen's report. Could we go back?
Oh, did I miss that? I'm sorry. Yes, I did miss it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to juggle a few things at once. Thank you for keeping me on track. Okay, so we'll go back and pick up number 3, which is discussion and action regarding the 2021 Board of Selectmen annual report letter. This is kind of our letter like for every board that goes into the annual report that people get in May. There's been a couple of updates on this. Rhonda has kind of color coded this for us. We have this in our packet. And what would the board like to do?
I'd like to
agree.
approve it as amended.
Okay, so that means that we would delete the greens. Let me just delete the greens, add the yellows, and add the blues. Is that the way we're reading this, the three of us?
Yes.
Okay, so Bob, is that your motion?
Correct.
Okay, so Bob's made a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other further discussion on this or any other changes? Okay, so let's do a roll call vote on Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Okay, thank you for keeping me on track. So let's do number 5. I think that's where we are. Discussion and possible action regarding emergency procedures for all town buildings. Rhonda, would you set the stage on this for us, please?
Sure. So what you have in your packet is the approved version for the senior center. And what I did was I sent that out to other building managers and had them take a look to see if they had any changes, deletions, anything like that. And everyone thought that it was fine the way it was. And if you approve it for all buildings, I will change out the senior center and put in building specific and send them off to the buildings to be listed.
Okay, and this is kind of a follow-up, I think, from our last meeting.
Yes.
So board members, if you'd like to approve this, we need a motion. If not, let's discuss if there's any changes that would be recommended.
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the Sheffield Senior Center medical emergency procedures for applicability to all other town buildings and departments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Rhonda, thank you for doing that, and thank you for getting the feedback from all of the other departments. Is this something that's that you're planning to have each department or building placed like in a frame? So, what are the plans on posting this?
Yes, I'll have them laminate it or post it in a very prominent place where everyone can see it. Some buildings, it may even be posted in more than one spot.
Okay, excellent. All right, good. So our next item is the discussion and action regarding the efficiency and regionalization grant application. This is, Rhonda, if it's okay with you, I'll just take the first part of this.
Yes, please.
Okay, this is one of the community compact grants. And we probably in Sheffield most recently know this as a regionalization grant that Rhonda had our town participate in for the shared human resources person that's still being worked on. This grant is open. I think now and is due February 12th, which is why I asked to have it on this meeting. I had thought that I would be coming to the board asking for permission to pursue a shared conservation agent. But to be honest, trying to work on that, it just takes, I don't have the time, given the amount of time that it takes to track down the towns and get all the ducks lined up, okay? So what I would like to do is just shift to the efficiency part of this and see if the board would approve applying for a few items. The first of them is, or the first item is that we know we got the body worn camera for the police department, but there's a component of that that deals with the in-car cameras and the upgrades to that, which is about $5,000 that the body worn camera grant that we got will not cover. So there's about $5,000. The second part of this is that the chief would like to have upgrade a number of his desktop computers as well as one laptop. And we remember that we just used Berkshire school funds to buy that suite of software for the various department dog licenses, marriage licenses, et cetera, et cetera. But Rhonda has about 6 desktop systems and 2 laptop systems that she would like to get upgraded. So we don't have final prices, but we would also be looking for proper configuration on those computer systems. And that would be specifically what I would request in this efficiency grant. So it's the remainder of bringing all of the body worn camera car systems up to date, as well as, let's see, that would be 9 desktops and 3 laptop systems, associated software. There's been some talk with John, our IT consultant, about making sure that those systems are up to date in the Microsoft and Office suite. So I don't have the numbers, but I think we're probably, I don't know, I think we're looking under 30,000. It might be a little bit more, but I could probably give you a better estimate at our next meeting. But I want to see if we're going to go with this, because if so, I want to continue to work on the verbiage and collecting all the data. So Rhonda, what would you add to that?
I don't think there's anything to add, Renee. We did ask for some of the computers that need to be upgraded at the town hall, and I threw in a couple extra. I'm not sure exactly where the library stands, but I'm guessing that there's probably 1 or 2 over there that could probably be upgraded as well.
So maybe, Dina, if there is, you could get that information to Rhonda. And I don't think, Rhonda, that necessarily we want to exclude printers in this request. Some of the newer systems don't work with some of the older printers, so we just kind of have to get that squared away. But I think we all know where we're going with this.
Yes.
What do you think, board?
Question? You said the application deadline is the 13th of February, something like that?
I think it's February 12th at noon.
When would we expect to hear and be able to make purchases if we were successful?
I cannot find that information on the Community Compact page, but generally Community Compact awards pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks.
This is not like the best practices where we found out the day after we applied. You know, they will wait until the application period is closed, and then they will sort through it, as what I've been told. But I don't think it's going to be, you know, I don't think it's going to be any more than 30 or 45 days.
Okay, thank you.
But I can try to find that out.
It's okay.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm curious too, to be honest. Yeah. Bob, questions?
No question. Sounds like a worthwhile adventure.
So does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we encourage and support Renee and Rhonda in applying for the Massachusetts Efficiency Grant for in-car cameras and related upgrades for the police department, an upgrade of police department, town hall, and possibly library computers, associated software and hardware. That's it.
Okay,
Second.
all right. So we have a motion and a second. Thank you, Martin. Any further discussion? Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Okay, thank you. Our next item is discussion possible action regarding an art supply cabinet at the library. Dina's been waiting for this. Nice to have you on a meeting there, Dina, despite having to wait for this. So in our packet, we have the letter from Dina, along with an email, and we have the quote. And after talking this over with Rhonda, we don't have any money immediately available in our RMD account. And part of this is because of a couple of missteps last year. We didn't get as much money as we anticipated. So we have a letter basically asking Dina if there's any money available from the Friends of the Library. But if not, that the board is willing to submit a request for this cabinet when it files its grant request for Mass DEP later this year, which would be in the June or July. They haven't told us yet what the filing deadline is on that. We usually don't get that awarded until November. Does everybody kind of understand this, or do we need to have a little bit more explanation on this? Or were the letters sufficient, Martin and Bob?
I believe the letters were sufficient.
Rhonda, do you want to add anything?
No, I have nothing to add right now.
Okay. So I think what we're asking, what we're doing tonight is seeing if this is the approach that the board wants to take in trying to find money for this cabinet. And if so, whether this draft letter is something the board wants to approve.
I do have a question. Could this be added to the library budget that's coming to be drafted soon?
No, that's a good point.
So our draft budget has been submitted to Rhonda, but if the board thinks that this is a good way to move and Rhonda agrees, we'd be happy to amend the budget to include the cost for the cabinet.
Rhonda, any comment?
That's absolutely fine if you'd like to amend the budget, but I think the SMRP grant is a perfect place for a cabinet like this. We're always looking for something to use that on, and we certainly have enough recycling bins at the town hall to last probably for the next year. So, that's a perfect place for this, but if you want to add it to the budget, that's fine as well. Whatever everybody thinks is the proper thing to do.
Well, for me, it was just a matter of timing and having to wait until fall before they could get it.
Okay.
So is that your recommendation, Bob? And if that is, then we'll see if we can get, see where Martin is.
That would be my recommendation, yes.
I would agree with Bob.
Okay, so why don't we have a motion that recommends to the library that they amend their budget for their current budget for this upcoming fiscal year to include this.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All right, and this would allow, when this comes up to the Finance Committee, at least in my mind, that the selectmen have taken this matter under consideration, and after considering options, made a recommendation. I think this is something that the Finance Committee will find to be of interest, that we have looked at this, okay, and that this is our recommendation. So let's go ahead and take a roll call vote. Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Okay, so Dana, you know what to do, and Rhonda knows what to expect. All right, thank you, board. So Rhonda's going to provide us now an update on what's been collected under the meals, the rooms, and the marijuana excise tax. This does not include a report on the community impact fees. We'll see if we can have from the marijuana host community agreements. We'll see if we can have that at our next meeting. But Rhonda, let me turn this over to you.
Sure. So I broke it down by fiscal year. So for FY21, the cannabis revenue was $288,273.05. The meals was $11,327.89. The rooms were $72,966.28. So that covered the entire fiscal year of 21. Now for 22, we've only received so far the first and second quarters. So cannabis revenue is $304,694.47. Meals are $14,380.91. And rooms are $77,439.69. So we're on track, it looks like, to really zoom ahead in 22 compared to 21.
Okay, this is great. I mean, this is money that, because the town voters voted to put on these taxes, is now coming into the general fund. Rhonda, just so everyone understands, could you please explain where this money goes? I mean, first of all, kind of what happens to it, what the certification process is, what that's about, and then how it flows into the general fund when that happens. So for instance, when the fiscal year 21 numbers that you just read flowed into the general fund, and when it's expected that fiscal 22, including the next 2 quarters, would flow into the general fund.
So how it works is we collect the revenues throughout the fiscal year, which closes on June 30th. Some of the funds maybe not be received until July or August, but because they're a receipt for the prior fiscal year, we can include them. So once the books are closed, the DOR, so that goes into the general fund. And once the books are closed, the DOR certifies free cash, and these amounts of money flow into our free cash, which is normally certified late fall, October or November. And then the town historically has used free cash to purchase some of the capital items.
And that's done at by voter approval at a town meeting.
Yes.
Okay. And all of this that's collected, this, I just kind of am trying to make sure everybody understands. This is collected at the state level and then is reported and given to the town. The town doesn't collect this per se.
Correct.
Okay. Now, at the next meeting, I'm going to ask Rhonda to do this same thing for our community impact fees. And do those flow the same way, Rhonda, except that they come straight to the town?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
they're classified as a general revenue, and they are put into the general fund as well. And then voters decide how that money is to be spent.
Okay, so let's just, board members, Martin, you have your hand up.
Yes, Rhonda, were the fiscal year 21 numbers from excise taxes included in the latest estimate or the latest validation of our free cash?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Martin or Bob?
No.
Just so we make sure that we're kind of all on the same page, is there anyone who's on the meeting who has a question on this for Rhonda? How this flows? Pat?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, going back in time, we've had the community agreement for a number of years. That money is spent, is still sitting somewhere. What's the status of previous collections?
So before 2021, Pat, we didn't have any cannabis revenue because this only comes from the retail shop. So currently we have one retail shop operating, and we began receiving those funds in 21 from that one shop.
So but the community impact predates that, right?
It does, but they had
But
to
not
have been.
discussing. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll get a report on that at our our first meeting in February. So after this next meeting in February, we'll have all the numbers so everybody knows what those numbers are. Okay. Pat, are you okay? Okay. Are there any other questions for Rhonda on this? I really want to have people understand this.
Bonnie's
Bonnie?
got her hand.
And
Yeah, Bonnie.
just
This is
to
Bonnie Silvers.
Bonnie Silvers, 15 Bow Hour Road. Question, do you distribute that 3% that goes to the school district from the cannabis money, or does that come through a different route?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking, Bonnie. I'm sorry.
I'm asking whether the mandated money that is to be given to education to the school district, whether it comes through directly from cannabis sources and it has nothing to do with the town, or is it does it go through the town and then get sent to the district?
I didn't realize there was any mandated amounts that goes to the school.
Yeah, it was part of, I don't know if you remember back in all the meetings with Weld and with others, one of the things that was brought up as part of the whole pitch is that because of issues related to marijuana use, and I think it might be, it's a state ruling that 3% has to go through to the district. And I don't know whether that comes through completely separately. And if you're not sure, would you know how I could find out?
So let me try this. In our host community agreements, which is signed with every marijuana business, no matter what they're doing, and there is a general section that deals with education events. And this particularly started with Chris Weld because of his interest in educating. I'm not aware that any of those events have taken place, in part because of COVID, and the board actually at a number of its meetings had voted to not require that because of the last umpteen years. I am not aware of anything in the host community agreements that requires any money. Now, some towns do this, but not in Sheffield. I'm not aware of any money that is going directly to the schools, nor am I aware of any requirement at the state level that any of the towns provide, I'm going to say, a share of what they collect to education. Now, maybe there's something out of the 17% excise tax that the state collects that it has committed to the school district, but I'm not aware of anything at the local level. And I think we all pretty well know these agreements that we've signed with the various marijuana companies. Rhonda, are you aware of anything?
No,
Some of the towns have required all kinds of additional payments, but Sheffield has not.
Okay. All right, I think
So
that.
if you find
I'll
out
do a little
anything,
more.
yeah, let us know what you find out at the state level, because if you're expecting money, it's not, we have not been told by our lawyers who helped draft our host community agreements or anybody else that we have any obligation to provide any percentage share to the schools.
That's interesting. All right, I will check. Because,
Okay, please do.
in
Yeah.
those discussions, it was brought up. Okay.
Again, that was an educational component of
Mhm.
education. And if you want, I'd be more than happy to send you, to email you. It's a public document. For instance, the host community agreement signed by Chris Weld, so you can see that specifically.
Great.
Okay,
And I'll let you know what I find out.
great. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Rhonda. I think this is extremely helpful to people. And at the next meeting, again, we'll do the community impact fees, and then maybe we can put it all together so that people can understand, because I know there's been a lot of questions about what's this money look like. Okay, so if there's no more questions on that, let's go to our next item, which is action on the appointment of our animal control officer. And Rhonda, I'd like to turn this over to you again.
sure. So as per Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 151, the Board of Selectmen of each town needs to annually designate an animal control officer. And then we have to report that back to the state no later than February 1st of each year. So we have Cassie, who's been our animal control officer for a couple years. She's doing a great job. And it would be my recommendation that the board appoint her again this year.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Cassie Keeley, reappoint Cassie Keeley as our animal control officer for the coming year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, let's do a roll call vote. Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Thank you, Rhonda. The next item is action regarding donation for the general operating fund. And we'll turn this to Rhonda also.
So we received a check from the Berkshire Technic Community Foundation in the amount of $1,000 for general operating support. The last one you remember we received was for $1,000, and that was for the fire department. This is just for the general operating for the town.
So board members, is there someone who wants to make a motion on accepting this and sending a letter of gratitude?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. We greatly appreciate this. Next item is action on potential appointment of 2 firefighters. Martin, why don't I ask you to do this, please?
Sure. So the Sheffield Volunteer Hose Company received 2 applications, one from Crystal Van Duzen and the other from Jeremy Van Duzen. They are a husband and wife team, as it were, to be appointed as firefighter EMS personnel with the Sheffield Volunteer Fire Department. The hose company's Vigilant Committee has approved both of them, and there is a member vouching for both of them for their applications. They have submitted what I believe to be our complete full applications. And these would be, of course, subject to a query check, but I think almost every resident in Sheffield probably knows the two Van Dusens, and they are very committed medical and fire personnel. So I would make a recommendation that the select board accept their applications for appointment to the Sheffield Fire Department.
And
Second.
okay, so we have a motion, a second. We have all the paperwork we need.
We
I
do.
believe so.
Okay, I cannot believe the qualifications of these two individuals. What an incredible gift to our fire department to
Indeed.
have both of these people step up. This is unbelievable. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and just before we vote on it, and Martin, I know you had shared with us, I think last year several times, the recruiting efforts of the volunteer fire department. Do you have a sense of what number this makes, like within the last 18 months?
Within the last 18 months, it's got to be, well, let's put it 24 months. We've added probably 10 members.
That is wonderful.
So we're, I believe the membership now is up to 32, which is
Okay.
just, it's hard to believe given what's going on in some other towns.
Yeah, and it's also impressive that there's this whole new wave of younger volunteers
Yes.
that are coming in to complement those who have served for, in some cases, quite a while. So, all right, so we have a motion and a second. Rhonda, anything from you? Are we good to vote?
You're good to vote.
Okay, so let's vote. Roll call vote, Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. I'm really overwhelmed with the recruiting efforts and the volunteers who are stepping forward. It's really commendable. So our next item is announcement of the Smithsonian exhibit, and I'm assuming that Dina is going to do that.
No, I'm happy. So thank you, Renee. Hi to the rest of the select board. I am very excited to announce that the Bushnell Sage Library has been chosen by Mass Humanities as part of their Museum on Main Street program to host the traveling Smithsonian exhibit, Crossroads, Change in Rural America. So the Bushnell Sage Library will host the Smithsonian exhibit in the program room on our lower level from March 26, 2023 through to May 6, 2023. It's coming to us from the Great Falls Discovery Center, and we will be sending it to the Athol Public Library. We are the only site and library in Berkshire County to have been chosen for this exhibition. We are the furthest west site. The next closest site is Athol. So we're very excited to host this. This comes with a $10,000 grant from the Smithsonian. We, as an institution, will be matching that grant. We can match that with volunteer hours, various in-kind donations. So we know with the help of the Sheffield community that we will be able to match this grant money with no issue. And we're very excited to bring this federal money to the community. Crossroads Change in Rural America has been traveling across the country. The Smithsonian has been looking for libraries, local history sites to host this exhibit. And it really looks at how rural life has changed over the past century, the shift in American culture from rural centers to urban centers, and how rural towns, the challenges that they face, but also the success that they've had in keeping their local culture. So I'm really excited to spearhead this project. We've partnered with Kathy in the Senior Center, the Sheffield Historical Center, Housatonic Heritage, Smitty Pignatelli's office. I know that I'm going to leave out partners, but I welcome people from the area to join us as we put these things together. But it'll be a really exciting 6 weeks that will hopefully encourage lots of people from South County, from the Berkshires, from the state, to come and see what really makes Sheffield so special and how Sheffield has really been able to retain its rural local culture. And I'm just very excited about what this is going to bring to town.
Go ahead, Martin, you're going to say something.
I'm going to make a motion that we give a hip, hip hooray to Dina, as well as Pat Levine and others that worked on this application. It took a lot of discussion, a lot of thought, and it was a very sensitively done application that got the town of Sheffield this award. And I am a member of the library trustees, just for purposes of disclosure. But I have to say, I am hugely proud. This is going to raise the profile not only of Sheffield, but of the library itself. And it's an incredible honor to be hosting this.
Well, I think we should do the hip hip hooray without emotion. I mean, I just think this is so fabulous. I know Pat has got her hand up. Pat, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to commend Dina also for bringing together such a diverse group. She was early in her career here. She was hampered by not a lot of in-person meetings because of COVID, managed to pull together some 10 groups, I think, and probably still counting. All just a wonderful, wonderful coalescence of individuals, organizations, and we're looking forward to continuing those relationships even after, well, all the way through as we plan into 23, and then afterward as well. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you, Dina.
So I think we have Mumbet in 22, and we have the Smithsonian in 23, and I hope the community will obviously support these two activities, and that there will be a number of other activities that are kind of built around this. This is an incredible honor. Who would think in Sheffield? I mean, the Smithsonian, for goodness sakes. So kudos to all of you. I remember when we wrote the letter of support for the Board of Selectmen, it was, really hoping that this was going to be the case, but you pulled it off. So kudos to all of you. Bonnie, you had your hand up. Bonnie?
Yes, thank you. I'm just hoping that you will take any opportunity to involve our school district in what you're doing.
No, it's great. So we are, I've been in many conversations with Michelle Razzle, who is the school librarian at Mount Everett. So Mount Everett and the school district were also one of the many groups that wrote letters of support. So we know it'll be really valuable that we want teens, we want, school groups especially to come out and see this. Part of this exhibition that I think is really neat is that they're asking all of the host sites to come up with their own little local exhibition. So I really want the voices of our youth and the voices of our students to be part of that.
Great. And if there's any way, I only speak as one, but if there is any way that you think you would like the school committee to assist, please let us know.
Oh, thank you. I'll absolutely keep everybody in the loop. Fortunately, we have some time to plan everything, but yeah, it's like, as Pat and Martin mentioned, I'm really excited to have the collaboration of so many community groups. And I want this to be a community collaboration that we're putting on together.
Congratulations.
And I think also, at a time when it seems like there's so much division, this shows what happens when people come together and work together. And it's a tremendous honor to have this coming to the Bushnell Sage Library. So again, hip hip hooray. So all right. So with that, I'm going to have to move on to the next item. Okay, let's just carry this joy with us at least the rest of the evening, if not for some time to come. Okay, just really well done. So there's discussion regarding pop-up testing site, and I'm not sure who to turn this to. So Rhonda, shall I turn it to you?
This should be Pat or Martin. I believe Martin asked for it to be on the agenda, and I think Pat was going to give an update on what was to come.
All right, so Pat, we'll turn it over to you.
Sure, thank you. We have done 2 or 3 already. I'm losing track of these pop-up COVID test sites in the drive-through circular driveway. We've done 4 already, Dina. You've been there. I've been there. That's great. And there are 2 more to come. The next 2 Thursdays, this week and next week, we will be doing them as well. We've gotten better and better and more sophisticated at how we're doing it, so we can put people through more quickly. We now can take walk-ups anytime during the course of the 2 hours, which is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Thursday, this week and next week. You'll get the results in the afternoon. If you are positive, you'll get a phone call with information on what to do. You will get an email otherwise just saying that you were negative. It's been incredibly well received. People are extremely appreciative. It's embarrassing to be thanked so much, frankly, but it's been a good experience to be out there. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. Dean has been invaluable and as part of the team. It's really great.
So Pat, do you want to give an update on where we are on the COVID numbers?
Actually, I sent you that list. I didn't. The numbers have gone down. I don't have it in front of me, but they are going down in all of South County and in Sheffield as well. We're hoping that this is the beginning of a downward trend. That isn't to say that there may not be another variant at some point. The vast majority, in fact, they think all of the COVID cases now are Omicron. And it's just moving along, but downward, which is great. There was one other thing I wanted to say, that you now can get, as of even today, although it was supposed to be tomorrow, 4 free kits, home test kits. And all you need to do is go on the web to covidtests.gov. And you can sign up for 4 tests. They'll come to you through the US Post Office. And I think this will be a reoccurring thing, although I'm not sure what the frequency and how this is going to work. But it's very easy to do, and they immediately respond with an email saying, we'll ship them to you. They're concentrating them apparently in areas where COVID is high. We are on the border of that qualification. So you may find that we get them more quickly than other places.
Yeah, I want to just add a little bit to that. I went on today and ordered my 4. It wasn't supposed to be until tomorrow, but I just went to covidtests.gov, skip the www,
Yeah.
and you push the blue button and it goes to a screen that you just entered your information. It'll be shipped by the post office, apparently, as Pat said, and they'll start shipping in late January. Now, for those who might be listening, and we'll try to get an email blast out on this in the next day or so, the library has graciously, as has the senior center, agreed, as they always do, to help someone who may not be as totally computer literate or have the internet connection that they need. So we have 2 good resources, both the library and the senior center, to get these tests.
There's also a phone number that you can call if you don't want to use the internet at all. There's a phone number. I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, I missed that because I was on the internet. Yeah.
The email blast that goes out should have all of that information.
Okay, I'll add that. The other thing is, and a lot of this is moving so quickly. Also, I think the government has said that insurances have to pay up for a number of home tests. So if you go if you can find them, if you go to the, I guess to Big Y or Price Chopper or Walmart, not Walmart, Walgreens or whoever, that your insurance is supposed to be able to be billed for a certain number of tests. I think it's 8 a month or something of that sort. But it's also the case that these home tests are not as positive, let me rephrase that, are not as efficient as the tests that are being done at the library. The home tests have about a 10%, I've read, error rate of having negatives when in fact you're positive. So I still think the best thing is to, if you can, get to the library when they're doing the tests on Thursday from 8 to 10, right, Pat?
Correct.
Okay, those are going to be your best choice. And of course, the vaccine and the booster is still the number one. We don't know what's coming, so we just get as prepared as we can. Pat?
There are also dramatic changes happening in the school system, which I don't know if Bonnie, it's going to be discussed tomorrow at a meeting with the superintendent. But they will be handing out test kits to families as well to test at home. A whole new initiative by DESE that changes the game for schools and makes the ability to focus on those with symptoms rather than absolutely everybody easier to do. So that will be coming out. It's a choice by the part of the school, so we'll see what happens in our school district.
Yeah, this is just a lot of stuff going on right now. It's hard to kind of keep up with it. Shall we move on? Are we good? Okay, so let's do board member items. Martin, let's start with you.
The only thing I have is to thank all of our Sheffield residents for all the support and the work that we all do to make this a great place to live.
All right. Bonnie raised her bottle to that. I'm not sure what it is, but
Pellegrino.
Water, Pellegrino. Okay. Bob, how about you?
I'm good.
Okay. The only thing I wanted to just mention, there's two things. One, despite what the Sheffield Times said, we have not set officially our date for town meeting. We had talked about that. It's not going to be in January, possibly in February, but we've got to kind of see how things shake out because I know people want to come to the town meeting. So it's definitely, the date hasn't been set. The second thing is that I just want to let you know that we are the 5 towns that make up our 5 town cable advisory committee are beginning work on the contract renewal that will be up in February of 23. So we're going to be starting work on that, and we will be having a survey that's going out to all of the towns. It won't be for another month or so. We'll give you plenty of advanced notice on that, where as part of the process that we are legally required to do, we want to seek your input on what you think of the delivery of cable TV by Spectrum. So just kind of a, yeah, we'll wait. Just kind of a heads up on that. And that was it for me. So let's do town administrator items. Rhonda?
I don't have anything. Thank you, Renee.
Okay, so let's do public comment. If you could raise your hand, either with the little yellow hand or raise your hand, that would be great. And Bonnie, go ahead.
First, I have a couple of items. Bonnie Silver's 15 Bow Wow Road. A question, Martin, you may have the answer here. Do our COVID numbers that come out of the district all get reported as Sheffield COVID numbers because of where we're located?
Are you talking about within the school district at the 5 towns being reported as Sheffield?
No, within the school district, when we report our positivity numbers, does that then have to be included because of physically where we are as Sheffield? Does it get recorded that way?
No, I don't believe so.
I was going to say no. It's typically based upon the residence of the individual.
Oh,
Right, that's how it's recorded in Maven, is
Right.
the residence.
okay.
Right.
And as a follow-up, as Pat mentioned, it looks like based upon Baker's today, there will have to be changes in our protocols, given the action of whether we opt into this new system of sending home tests and not doing the opt-in method we've been using in tracing, though pool testing will continue. So this, as Pat mentioned, this just came out today. we'll have to do that. The other thing I want to report is, as you know, the Berkshire Regional Planning Group, Southern Berkshire, the Education Group, there are 2 meetings coming up that people may want to be interested in attending as the public. They will take place, the totally Zoom, on the 25th of this month and on the 7th of February. And they are going to be reporting, I'm going to try to keep this as calm as I can in this. They are going to be reporting conclusions from the surveys that went out, the approximately 1,200 responses and some of the recommendations. I think it is quite important that residents who can, from our 5 towns in our district, try to attend. In the meeting I just left on communications, the communications subcommittee, I asked that there be a public speak section of the meeting. And I asked that it be held after the reports findings are issued. So it was agreed to that there will be a public speak time. So both for gathering the information and for having input, it would behoove people who can to attend. And you can go to 8 towns.org to be able to get that information. And my last question is, Martin, this is a follow-up from a discussion we had in 21 about the fact that the annual report doesn't have a page on the school district, and whether that's being included in the upcoming annual report.
So let us leave that with Rhonda.
Okay, Rhonda.
Unless,
going to
Rhonda,
you.
unless you have anything you want to say at this moment, we'll take that under consideration. That's the first I've heard of it. So Rhonda, do you want to say anything at this moment, or we'll just take it under consideration?
It's the first I've heard about it too, but I don't think it would be a problem if we could keep it to a short 1 page. We've already gotten the quotes for the town report, but I'll talk with you more about that.
That's
and then I'll get in
great,
touch.
because when you look at the annual report, it doesn't, and most of people's taxes go to our district. There's nothing about this regional school district at all with all the different departments. So I thank you very much. Stay warm.
Okay, so we have a to-do on that. Is there anyone else from the public, including those who do not have video, who want to say anything under public comments? If you do, just introduce yourself and speak. I'm not seeing anything or hearing anything. So I think I will thank you all for attending and thank CTSB for recording this, and request a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Let's do a roll call vote. Bob Kilmer,
Aye.
Martin Mitzoff,
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Thank you again. This ends the meeting.
Thank you all.
Good night.
You.
Good night.